Good afternoon, UK. We've got a special segment today. We've got Kings and Josh on board the show on the buzz today. We're ending Friday off with good energy. We've got both of them in. Good afternoon, guys. How's it going?
I'm
Yeah,
great.
not too bad. Not too bad. I can't complain.
Yeah, I'm great. I got a bit of energy with me. It's Friday. Who wouldn't be happy on a Friday?
Friday then.
It's Saturday, Sunday. What?
Yeah. So what? Why don't we quickly run through what we're talking about today?
What?
Okay. You go ahead, Josh. Go ahead,
No,
Josh.
you crack on, mate. You crack on.
Okay, so it seems as today we have a few interesting topics to speak about. Starting off with some Indian cryptocurrency and
Yeah.
the influence of Bitcoin. We are also going to be talking about NBA Launchpad and initiatives that seek out to improve basketball through emerging technologies, and also Aaron Rodgers and whether he's actually part owner of the Milwaukee Bucks, which I'll be honest, I'm quite interested in that because I don't know. So
And this topic is properly relevant today because I mean, they're playing tonight.
Yeah.
I'm hoping they win. And so when it comes to things with the crypto, also there's a lot of it's been a hot topic this week, at least this year rather, right? And it's been falling, it's been going down, but people still seem to be pretty positive about it. So yeah, let's dive right into it.
100%. Before we do continue, I'd like to ask actually, with cryptocurrency, is it just me or have you guys realized that it's not being spoken about as much as it used to be?
I think it is still being spoken about because you've got a couple of different people on it, and depending on where.
Go on.
You go on, Josh. Go on.
I just think the stigma around it is where cryptocurrency is so unpredictable.
Yeah.
In the sense that the value just shoots up and down. It's very, very hard to determine what the market's like at any one time.
There we go. Yeah.
When we spoke about it, when me and Tim spoke about this on a show about a week ago, we spoke about the value of Bitcoin, which is like the biggest cryptocurrency there is. And I think the month before on that date, the value was like £40,000 for one Bitcoin, and then at the time of recording, the value had shot down to like £24,000 for one Bitcoin. The reason for that is obviously that there are loads of celebrities and loads of popular figures getting involved with cryptocurrency, like Elon Musk, for example, who invested $1.5 billion into Bitcoin. Then the market crashed, and then he withdrew, and then just started slating Bitcoin to the ground. With that, there are so many different types of cryptocurrency as well. So you've got Bitcoin, Ethereum, Dogecoin, and all these different platforms as well. And there's all different kinds of cryptocurrency now. So it's not necessarily just Bitcoin itself or Ethereum itself. We've now got these NFTs, which are non-fundable tokens. We basically like that. Obviously, if you're familiar with YouTube culture, you obviously know about the Charlie Bit My Finger video, which became an NFT, which sold at market for $700,000. So $700,000 it sold for as an NFT.
That's crazy.
This
That's
is what I'm
absolutely
saying.
insane.
Cryptocurrency is developing, and it's turning into more than just Bitcoin. It's turning into everything. There was one of the articles I brought up with Tim. There was a piece of art that sold at an auction in London.
That's Sotheby's.
Sotheby's. The piece of art that we're talking about sold for $11.5 million, and it was bought by the owner of DraftKings.
Okay, do you know what? If I'm going to be honest, whenever it comes to things like art, I can understand whenever it sells for a stupidly huge amount because, whenever looking at art, people, it's like, oh, it speaks to me, it's more than just a picture, it's more than just a painting. But Charlie Bit My Finger, 700,000.
Yeah,
no,
I mean, how they're looking at it is they look at it in a way where they own a piece of history, right? Like NBA Top Shot. I mean, they basically take the video off YouTube, and you're the only person that owns it now. So, I mean,
if you choose to share that with people, that's up to you.
Yeah,
exactly. It did go real viral. When it came out, and you have different NFT platforms like Rarible. You have platforms like OpenSea. So you basically check on these platforms for which for what exactly is trending, what's sold the highest, and then who owns it, how many times it's been sold, how many of those particular NFTs are actually rotating around. If you want 5, if you want 10, it's up to the creator to actually produce how many they want. And
Yeah.
also it's up to the creator to demand how much of a percentage they want of each sale.
Yeah.
Okay. Okay, I understand that. Do you know what? When we're looking at even just cryptocurrency in general, one of the things you mentioned even was Dogecoin.
Dogecoin, yeah.
So me and Tim, we spoke about this yesterday, I believe. Speaking about Dogecoin, we're like, maybe it's just me, maybe it's just a few other people, but I already knew that Dogecoin was not gonna last. That was just built upon hype. And
it was built as a meme. It was built as a meme. The owner of Dogecoin made it as a joke to try and take fun at the cryptocurrency market, and it turned into something he wasn't expecting it to. I think he invested. I don't know how much he initially invested, but I think he withdrew something stupid like 75,000.
But that's the thing. He made 75,000 off of a complete joke, and not only that, there's I even told Tim about this yesterday. I had a friend who invested about $200-300. He's in Canada. He invested $200-300 into Dogecoin, thinking, do you know what? I'm going to take a plunge at it. Almost maybe a month, 2 months later, he's made back over $8,000. And now he's literally he's taken the money out. He sold everything. He's taken all that money out. He's kept it for himself, and he's putting it into more investments. Like, Dogecoin was literally built off of hype. So those that were actually there to go and put that money in when it was literally just, a complete joke, slated on Twitter, things here and there, people really did get lucky. You get what I mean? So
yeah.
So when he made his money, when people were making their money off of Dogecoin, now it's become Dogecoin, invest in Dogecoin. Now what's it? I think Elon Musk even decided to go and put a whole tweet out talking about Dogecoin as well. Now all of a sudden Dogecoin has plummeted. It's dropped from 0.8 to 0.2, and people are screaming because they're losing their money when they should have really expected the fact that Dogecoin was not going to last. It was just a meme coin. It was there for a joke,
Yeah.
Sadly, it did pay bills.
The current value of Dogecoin as we speak right now, it's gone up by 5.74%. So it's now worth 0.1854 pounds. So for one Dogecoin. When we're talking about obviously the market plummeting and stuff, like last week when me and Tim spoke about it, Bitcoin was sitting at 26,000. And that value has now gone down by 1.53%. So it's now currently sitting at £24,324.23 to one Bitcoin.
To one Bitcoin or Dogecoin?
To one Bitcoin.
Oh, to one Bitcoin.
But, so the top three right now in terms of value for money is Bitcoin, Ethereum, and then there's one called Tether as well.
I've heard of Tether, I've heard of Tether.
So they're the top three right now in the crypto market. If anyone's interested in cryptocurrency, I would strongly recommend going to get this app. It's called Crypto, and it literally just gives you all the rates of all the cryptocurrencies all across the board.
The one I've got the one I've got is Binance, and sometimes I just click here and there just to see what it's looking like. Really,
you can trade on Binance as well, right?
Yeah, you can trade on Binance. You can invest in Binance, things like that.
Best thing about crypto, best thing about this one is obviously if you invest so much money, you get a bank card that you can spend in actual shops, and you get cashback rewards.
Really?
Yeah. So you can get like 5% off of places like Top Man and stuff like that.
With this card that you get from investing in crypto.
Yeah.
That is, you see what the world's become. We've been speaking about technology all week, haven't we, Tim? We've been speaking about technology. Now it's getting
Welcome to the buzz, ladies and gentlemen.
Welcome to the buzz. Welcome to the buzz. We've been talking about technology all week, and now we're getting cards because of the fact that we've been investing in things like crypto. Now we can use that to spend in stores. The world's changing, gents. The world's changing.
I mean, these cards, you basically get a ton of. You obviously have it. It's similar to the credit card concept, where depending on the size of your balance left over, or how much you invested in, the card does change. And with that, sometimes you get free Netflix for a year, free Spotify for a year. It's all included in these.
It's exactly what you got with this one. So crypto, the IC White account, which is the one I'm looking at right now.
Yeah.
With the CRO stake, you get 100% cash back on Spotify, Netflix, and Amazon Prime.
You are joking.
And then you get 2% extra earnings in crypto earn. So if you're mining crypto, you earn more.
Gents, I think we're probably going to need to start investing in some crypto because I would like a whole Netflix
this
for
is
a
the
year.
thing. This is the thing with Bitcoin plummeting in value right now. Now is probably the best time to get involved because the value is only going to skyrocket.
Which, yeah, very true. And obviously, given the fact that they've noticed that the Bitcoin has dropped, all that's going to do is now create a whole crowd of people coming to buy. Now that now when Bitcoin, we'll see, maybe once their heads realize that there's a lot of people starting to purchase or that there's so much hype around it, Bitcoin's value starts to slowly go up and up and up. And now
is that going to be the case though? Because it's quite a yin and yang market in a sense. Like we saw what Elon Musk did when he invested 1.5 billion. The value just plummeted.
Yeah,
like if
that's true,
it's a bit of a yin and yang market. It's really when I say it's unpredictable, it seriously is unpredictable because if what you're saying is that loads of people start to then buy Bitcoin and the market and the value is going to go up, that's not necessarily true because if loads of people get on board and invest and a serious amount of money is invested in crypto, the chances are the market's just going to plummet even more. So it's a very niche market. You've got to really choose your investments at the right time and invest in the right kind of crypto at the right time.
Yeah, based on my belief, I feel that with crypto as well, because this is what I genuinely believe, and I've spoken with Tim about this even last week as well. That I feel like there's a lot of influence from very big people, aka celebrities, Elon Musk himself, people that are saying they're going to invest in crypto, Say, for example, if you were to hear someone like Mark Zuckerberg say, I'm about to go and put about X amount of money into Ethereum and Tether because I feel like this is going to boost. Now, all of a sudden, the markets are going crazy. It's like, okay, cool, boom, 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 you know? Because they know that this is an entrepreneur.
Have
this
you
is
seen what he named his dogs, by the way?
What he's named his dogs?
Mark Zuckerberg.
Yeah.
I'm going to refuse to comment on this because I have my opinions of Mark Zuckerberg and they're not very pleasant. So
oh dear.
I'm very anti Mark Zuckerberg.
Oh well, I didn't even look. What did he name his dogs?
So he's named his dogs. One fellow's name is Bitcoin, and the other guy's name is, I think, Ethereum, if I'm not mistaken. Yeah, crypto.
This guy's a very, very odd fellow. He's a very odd fellow. Crypto and Bitcoin.
Yeah. So I mean,
he's a strange one. He's a strange guy. He's a very strange guy.
Yeah, I can't. I don't know. I don't know what to say about him, to be honest. That's a bit strange to me. I'm not gonna lie. All I know is that for someone like him, he's got influence on the market. Elon Musk, he's got influence on the market. They'll be able to do things. They'll be able to, manipulate the market however they want. What do they call that technique? Pump and dump.
Yeah.
Pump and dump. Yeah, like they're able to pump the market. Tell them, yeah, cool. Let's get the market going. Once they see the markets are high, they could easily just be like, all right, drop everything. We don't need it anymore.
Yeah. So
and now all of a sudden
whales do. So whales are the ones that actually are a massive part of the reason these fluctuate like this. And when you talk about whales are the ones that actually buy in bulk, and they have a massive influential, say in how much this will cost. So, for example, let's say we're talking about someone like Mark Cuban, let's say hypothetically, because I know he's invested in Bitcoin on a massive scale. He's basically at a point where, let's say hypothetically he buys it. He has, let's say, now the market cap when it was at its peak was around $2 trillion, and Bitcoin was almost $1 trillion by itself. So let's say Mark Cuban, for example, owns half of that alone, right? Half of that trillion. If he just dumps all of that, the value of it is just going to go down. So people like that can influence it right now. Elon Musk's tweets can influence it, correct? But when you're considering things in the lines of long-term usage, or in the lines of how long it can,
it's predictability.
Sorry,
it's all about predictability.
Yeah, that does play a part in it, but so one thing, the Ethereum founder, this Russian dude, his name is Vitaly. I think I've spoken to you guys about him.
I think I've heard his name before. Yeah.
Yeah, not the prankster, not Vitaly the prankster.
Yeah. Okay.
Um,
Cool.
but so what he's said is that it's cryptocurrency in general is in a really raw state so far. It's only we are only the early adopters, talking about it or investing in it. um and when it comes to this, you need to see how you need to see how there are different factors that come into play. It's like a currency. It's like it will eventually become a digital currency. Everyone, even Elon Musk says that. Mark Cuban says. Ton of these billionaires or opinion leaders in finance or economics say that cryptocurrency is the future, hands down. No question about it. It's just a matter of time.
Yeah, 100%. Well,
I completely agree.
obviously, this conversation isn't just between us. It's all we also want to involve the people that are viewing. So if you've got any opinions, you can call us on 07853 473 473. Oh, sorry, 07852 473 473. We're also live on Instagram, Facebook, Twitter. If you want to leave a comment and we'll pull up your comments and we'll talk about them. Obviously, this is the conversation for the wider audience. What are your opinions of cryptocurrency? What do you want to? Have you got any questions that you want to ask? If we've got any idea,
Indeed,
we'll answer it for you. Currently, we're going to take a short break now, so we're going to play some videos just explaining who we are at Relax Radio. You're tuning to The Buzz with me, Josh, Kingsley, and Tim, and we will see you after the break. Good afternoon.
Good afternoon.
Break. It depends. I don't know. Where's Tim gone?
Oh my goodness, he's quickly just run off. Hold on.
Jumped out. I suppose we just better keep talking then.
Yeah, I guess so. Let's continue
Let's continue until he comes back.
So, ladies and gents, seems like we may not actually have a break. In that case, you've got us for a bit longer.
Indeed, yeah.
So, on the conversation of cryptocurrency in itself, and the topic that we're speaking about today. So Indian cryptocurrency, they've said that investors have flocked to CoinSwitch, Cuba, and WarZX after recent Bitcoin price crash, which caused cash deposited on local crypto exchanges to see increases of 250% and 60% respectively. So I don't know, that's pretty interesting for me. Like cryptocurrency specifically for this year has been quite it's definitely been in the mouths of everybody. Like everyone has really been talking about it. It's just been something that's just been up there. Really, just there's been a lot of besides the fact that we are the buzz, there's been a lot of buzz around cryptocurrency and everything that's been going on specifically for this year. Given the pandemic last year, there was no one was really able to figure out what to spend their money on. When we realized what the reality was just for that year alone, that we couldn't go out, we couldn't go to the shops, we couldn't spend money on anything. We just had loads of cash. Well, some of us had quite cash just lying around thinking. So what
this is the
do?
thing. The crypto market was probably heavily influenced because of lockdown. Because of COVID,
I agree.
People not being able to go to work and people just sitting on a substantial amount of fortune and just thinking, you know what? I have all this money, can't spend it. Let's invest. Let's just invest.
And do you know what makes it crazy? It's the fact that, for those that had that, that substantial amount of cash to just be like, it's just spending money. We've all got ourselves like a bit of spending money just to keep to the side. We've got our bills to take care of. We've got this and that to take care of, some expenses, and then we just got the money for us. We couldn't spend all that money. So it's just, some people thought, hey, screw it. Let's put it into some, let's look at what Forex is telling us, let's take a look at some Forex. And now all of a sudden, people that had that money have either gotten richer or lost. It didn't affect us because at the end of the day, we were just looking for something to spend.
Well, I mean, let's take into account as well that obviously the market is it would have been heavily influenced because of apps such as Trading 212, Forex, all these apps that give you like a starter wallet to work with, just to play around with investments to see how they work. That's probably heavily influenced. And if people are actually on board and actually understand how it works, that's when they're going to start investing actual money into it, and that's when people are going to start making a return. Now Tim's back, so I'm assuming now we're going to cut to a break. So if you want to contact the studio in any way, you can call us on 07852 473 473. We are live on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram. If you've got any comments, have any questions, please let us know.
Yes.
So we're gonna take a short break. We're gonna play a couple of videos just explaining who we are here at Relax Radio, and we'll be back after this. You're listening to The Buzz with me, Josh, Kingsley, and Tim, and we'll see you after the break. Good afternoon.
Good afternoon.
And it gives them something to look at, and it makes them laugh. It makes them laugh. So that's why I do it.
Oh, and it could be a really good pickup line as well. Ladies who ask, "Hey, excuse me, so why are you wearing something so colorful?" I mean, hey, you can always have something up on your sleeve. I mean, got me thinking. You want to stand out. Why do you want to stand out though so much, especially with these kind of shirts when you're riding? There must be a purpose behind it, right?
Well, when you say a purpose, Nick, what I do, I wear the shirts, mainly one because they're nice and bright, so they make me visible, especially if I'm riding on the road.
Okay. But yeah, that's very important, right? Because you want cars, yeah.
Very important. And also, like, people see me in like calves, and perhaps I shouldn't be saying this on here, I suppose, but in the bar afterwards.
All right.
And it gives them something to look at, and it makes them laugh. It makes them laugh. So that's why I do it.
Oh, and it could be a really good pickup line as well. Ladies who ask, "Hey, excuse me, so why are you wearing something so colorful?" I mean, hey, you can always have something up on your sleeve. I mean, you look like a guy who would do.
You know me too well. You know me too well, Nick. Again. But now, if you say to a child, if I went up to a child and said, "You've had one to forget," God, there'd be an inquest. Me, why did you reject my son? Well, I haven't rejected your son.
I want to talk about, how the generation gap, how much it's changed, especially when you check the youth nowadays in comparison, to people back in the day.
I'd say when I was younger, it was more disciplined. Not now.
In comparison to now.
Not at all. Not now. The way things are nowadays, the younger generation, you seem that they can't accept the word no. If that makes sense.
They can't accept rejection, essentially, is all you're trying to say.
Yeah, they can't accept the word no. So if you, how did I do? Or you didn't do very well, and they get upset. And when I was a youngster, my father used to say to me, because I used to be sport mad when I was very young, well, still am sport mad, but like participating in different sports. And if I had a bad game, for example, he'd say to me, "You had one to forget." That's it.
Your dad sounds like a smart guy. I mean, yeah, that's the real fact of the matter, yeah.
He'd say to me, "You had one to forget. Get over it." And that was it. So I dust myself down and do it again. But now, if you say to a child, if I went up to a child and said, "You've had one to forget," God, there'd be an inquest. Me, why did you reject my son? Well, I haven't rejected your son. Or daughter. I've just told them that they need to buck their ideas up.
Hey, that's the truth right there. I mean, if you think about it, if you check the generations, like right now in the US as well, I've seen a lot of these things as well. In the UK, you get medals for participation. But what's the point? What are you trying to? Yeah, what's the point? Either you win or you lose. People are so afraid to put that whole notion of losing. When it comes to right now, the generation gap is just crazy. How much a lot has changed. Social media has taken control of our lives, and we don't even realize it anymore. We're crippled because of it.
That's absolutely right, Nick. Because, as you said, nowadays it seems that you get rewarded for failure. For the life of me, Nick, I can't get my head around that. Perhaps I'm just getting old and morbid. I don't know. I just can't get my head around how you could be rewarded for failure.
One of the easiest ways to increase your net worth is to ensure that you have higher cash flows. And one of the easiest ways to do that is to not buy things on hire purchase, not buy things over months and months because you can't afford them now, but you want it. It's kind of that delayed gratification. Rather than buy that couch, that car, that stereo, that computer, whatever item, and pay it off over 12, 24, 36 months at an interest rate, rather invest that money, make do with what you've got, and then after 12, 24, 36 months, take the money that you've now invested and buy that good. An asset could be anything that appreciates or reduces a tax bill. So it could still be a liability, but it reduces their tax bill. And I'm not going to go into the technicalities because that's out of our remit here. However, for our use or our purpose, what we are talking for the listeners here is I would put this definition of an asset forward. An asset is anything that increases your income. Anything.
Now, there's a lot of conversation around who pays more taxes, if it is the rich or if it is the poor, right? When you are basically going out and during a day, if you go to a restaurant, you have to pay taxes there. If you buy a car, you have to pay taxes there. So why is it even a conversation that, the rich pay less taxes or the poor pay more taxes? Why is it a conversation like that?
Because it's true, the rich generally pay less tax. A rich person walks into a Tesco's or a Sainsbury's, they're not going to get a different bill than another person, right? They're still going to pay the same VAT on those goods. They're still going to pay the same thing. So that's all the same. However, the differences come in if you can pay yourself from your own company, you can structure it in a way that you pay less income tax through paying a bit of salary, paying dividends and so forth, and then also deferring income. Also, your pension payments or contributions can be different. So that increases your tax sort of gap, if that, if you want to use it that way. Where a PAYE person just gets paid salary and bonus. And now those are the most highly taxed sources of income in the UK, definitely, in the UK.
Welcome back to the Buzz. My name's Josh. I'm here with Tim. We're talking all things tech, all things tech, biz, entrepreneurship, every Monday to Friday from 12 until 3. We're currently talking about the cryptocurrency market crash and the Indian influence in cryptocurrency. If you've got any input, you can contact us on 07852 473 473. We are live on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram. If you've got any comments, leave them below, and we will talk about any talking points that we will talk that are there. So, yeah. So just before the break, we were talking about the cryptocurrency influence, the market. So, going from where we left off, we were talking about celebrities influencing the market.
Looking at the celebrities' influence on the market, literally, whenever it comes down to these celebrities, it's just the fact that think of a very huge, powerful figure. A lot of people want to follow powerful figures, right? So with the market is catering towards these powerful figures because, as you know, powerful figures will have influence on a huge group of people. Like, for example, I was a very power. Let's just say I have a lot of power. I own a lot of things. I control a lot of things. I can tell somebody on the roads to be able to do something for me, or I could just tell a whole group of people to get to listen to me, and they will listen. I could speak to a whole crowd of people, they will listen to me. That's like with the markets. The markets hear these powerful people, or the markets hear these big people are doing this, and that, and they cater it to the fact that they're going to bring in a lot of hype, meaning that the markets are going to start skyrocketing. You know, there's going to be a lot of traffic. Yeah, appreciation in value, a lot of traffic. So many people want to start getting onto the Steam chain. Like, you keep an eye on Twitter. You keep an eye on so many of the updates that come through on Twitter. You see, so-and-so has decided they want to start investing. So-and-so has said that they want to buy this in Bitcoin. So-and-so has said that they have invested in Tether. Now, everyone's like, okay, cool. Let's keep an eye on what happens on the market. Market starts to appreciate. People start to purchase,
Yeah. Obviously, like we're talking about cryptocurrency and like the influence and stuff. Like, although there are some positive influence, there are also some negative influences. And obviously, Bitcoin had this reputation for being used as a form of currency on things like the dark web. Now, the dark web is another conversation for another day. Obviously, the internet, we only see 10% of what the internet has to offer. And then if you want to see more, you have to dive dark into the deep dark web, and that's where you can get things, all these kind of illegal things. A news report coming out of Sky News 6 hours ago: police makes the UK's biggest ever cryptocurrency seizure as they confiscate £114 million.
114
million pounds. Metropolitan Police said the confiscation was the largest of its kind in the UK and one of the largest in the world. US authorities said they had seized around $1 billion last year, connected to the dark net market, place like the Silk Road, which was obviously shut down in 2013.
My goodness!
So obviously we're talking when we're talking cryptocurrency. I think that is a talking point we sort of need to touch on. Is like the influence, the negative influence it's also had.
See, when I looking at it like that now. Okay, let's take this back to about let's say 2012, 2013, when Bitcoin was, Bitcoin was something that was thrown around here and there. You hear people talking about mining Bitcoin.
Well, it was launched in 2009. Bitcoin was launched in 2009. And
it was launched in 2009,
yeah. The value wasn't that great anyway at that point. It's only in recent years where people you see all these celebrities and you actually see all these positive influences on the cryptocurrency market. So I think kind of like the positive influence and the investments from bigger celebrities have kind of helped sort of turn Bitcoin from something quite sinister into something quite positive.
Yeah, well, positive enough because it's still got its negative downsides, as you've already pointed out, But with Bitcoin, taking it back to, back when it started, so 2009, and then as it was building up, I remember there were celebrities, I think even Lily Allen. I remember Lily Allen was offered 100,000 Bitcoin to do a show, to do a concert. And she said, no, like the heck? What am I taking Bitcoin for?
£100,000 in Bitcoin, yeah.
100,000, 100,000 Bitcoin. No, it's actually just Bitcoin. I don't know how much it would have been was it £100,000 of it Bitcoin or?
Oh, it makes sense if it was £100,000 because if it was 100,000 Bitcoin, we're talking like millions.
Oh yeah. No, it was 100,000 Bitcoin. They offered 100,000 Bitcoin. It wasn't £100,000 in Bitcoin. They offered 100,000 Bitcoin, and obviously back then,
mental.
Bitcoin was. Oh, it was indeed. And the thing is, when she was given 100,000 Bitcoin, that was the offer that was given. And she at first she was like, "What? No, the heck! I don't want 100,000 Bitcoin. I want money," and she denied it. 7 years later.
7 years later, if someone was offered 100,000 Bitcoin, to be fair, I'd give my right arm for 100,000 Bitcoin.
Listen, if I could, I'd give how many internal organs for 100,000 Bitcoin? Like 7 years later, she looked back on that, and I remember she put out a tweet last year or probably early this year saying, "I remember when I was offered 100,000 Bitcoin to do a concert for these people or do a show for these people, and I completely turned down. I said, hell no, I don't want 100,000 Bitcoin." Now it's 2020 and Bitcoin is one Bitcoin is worth about 46 grand. She was absolutely distraught. She literally just looked at it and she was just so it hit, it just hit. It really hit hard. So, goodness me.
Obviously, other news in Bitcoin as we speak. XRP millionaire transfers 26 million coins from Binance. Earlier this month, a leading XRP account moved $146 million worth of XRP to an unknown wallet. That has obviously caused the market to jump by nearly 6% in the last 24 hours. And it's also it's increased the overall cap by $100 billion. Just from that alone. Now, unknown market. When we talk about unknown wallets and stuff, there are obviously private wallets. And there are obviously wallets that you can buy or you can open up to buy Bitcoin, such as Binance, such as Crypto, which is obviously the app that I talked about earlier on. In your opinion, 5 years from now, where do you see cryptocurrency? 5 years from now.
5 years from now with cryptocurrency, if I'm going to take into account everything that's going on within 5 years, we've got technology moving forward in 5 years. Like right now we've got augmented reality and all of this stuff going on. Within 5 years for cryptocurrency, I feel that it will appreciate. I don't know how far, but I feel that it's going to appreciate along with the movement of technology also stepping forward.
Yeah.
Do you understand? So, like right now we've got electrical cars and stuff. Petrol slowly dying out. And with electrical cars, it's better for the environment.
Yeah.
Elon Musk, who's now started accepting Bitcoin as a form of payment for his Tesla.
Yeah.
Yeah. See, when we've got things like this going on, I feel as though as we continue to move forward, cryptocurrency will slowly integrate into lifestyle and become a part of our lives. Like it will eventually become a point where we'll be able to start making purchases with Bitcoin. Like we'll be able to make more purchases in more places using Bitcoin and other cryptocurrencies. If those other cryptocurrencies manage to get to the same point as Bitcoin, you know what I mean?
Yeah, 100%. Now, obviously, I'm of the opinion, I've been very vocal about it on this show before. I'm of the opinion that by 2030, one Bitcoin is probably going to be worth about $500,000. There's $500,000. That's the estimated projected value.
Really?
So the estimate projected value by 2030, one Bitcoin will be worth $500,000. Now, I don't see it before long where we're going to live in a cash-free society where cryptocurrency is going to be the way forward. It's a huge assumption to make. Obviously, I think cash is still going to be king, but there have been talks in the UK government alone. I don't know if you're familiar with this, but there are talks about it alone where the government want to put across a cash-free society to stop things like cash fraud and transit fraud. So, I mean, the only way I can see that ever happening is if cryptocurrency become the main kind of currency. I don't see any other way of that actually being a thing.
The thing is, though, I feel like looking at that. See, when we look at one Bitcoin being worth $500,000, as you said, you feel that by 2030, one Bitcoin will be worth $500,000. I don't know. I feel like there's too many drawbacks to having a cashless society, mainly because of the fact that not everyone's going to be able to get hold of Bitcoin because, the amount of people that are investing into Bitcoin, you need money to be able to invest into Bitcoin to be able to get Bitcoins, If it gets to a point where it becomes a cashless society, I feel like being able to get hold of things like cryptocurrency will be even more difficult when there's no cash around to be able to invest to get that type of currency, So,
I mean, it is going to be limited, right? So, it'll definitely, just like, now we know current currencies, if it's the dollar, if it's the pound, whichever, it's not like there's an unlimited flow of it. It's when, there is a ton of printing that comes in, that the value up to a certain amount depreciates. So Bitcoin at one point is going to stop all production. I think at the end of next year or the year after, which is when, for one, the price is just going to hike up immediately. So that is why it's important to get on it right now as well. I'm bullish on it. When I say bullish, I mean I believe it's a bull market, and bull market means it's going upwards in the long term, which is the same thing that the Indians say. When they say bullish, they mean they're positive about growth, and when they mean bear, bear means it's bull and bear, right? With the two animals. When you talk about bullish or bear markets, that means it's either going up or it's going down. If it comes in, it applies into stocks, it applies into Bitcoin, anything to do with if it's gold or currencies like that.
Okay, I understand.
Yeah. So
Okay.
we're going to take a short break. So we're going to play a few videos explaining who we are here at Relax Radio. If you want to get involved in the conversation, you can call us on 07852 473 473. Nailed it first time. We are live on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter. So if you've got any comments, leave them on the video, and we will talk about any talking points there will be. So you're listening to The Buzz here on Relax Radio with Tim, Josh, and Kingsley, and we'll see you after this short break. Good afternoon.
Good afternoon.
One of the easiest ways to increase your net worth is to ensure that you have higher cash flows. And one of the easiest ways to do that is to not buy things on hire purchase, not buy things over months and months because you can't afford them now, but you want it. It's kind of that delayed gratification. Rather than buy that couch, that car, that stereo, that computer, whatever item, and pay it off over 12, 24, 36 months at an interest rate, rather invest that money, make do with what you've got, and then after 12, 24, 36 months, take the money that you've now invested and buy that good. An asset could be anything that appreciates or reduces a tax bill. So it could still be a liability, but it reduces their tax bill. And I'm not going to go into the technicalities because that's out of our remit here. However, for our use or our purpose, what we are talking for the listeners here is I would put this definition of an asset forward. An asset is anything that increases your income. Anything.
Now, there's a lot of conversation around who pays more taxes, if it is the rich or if it is the poor, right? When you are basically going out and during a day, if you go to a restaurant, you have to pay taxes there. If you buy a car, you have to pay taxes there. So why is it even a conversation that, the rich pay less taxes or the poor pay more taxes? Why is it a conversation like that?
Because it's true that the rich generally pay less tax. A rich person walks into a Tesco's or a Sainsbury's, they're not going to get a different bill than another person, right? They're still going to pay the same VAT on those goods. They're still going to pay the same thing. So that's all the same. However, the differences come in if you can pay yourself from your own company, you can structure it in a way that you pay less income tax through paying a bit of salary, paying dividends, and so forth, and then also deferring income. Also, your pension payments or contributions can be different. So that increases your tax sort of gap, if you want to use it that way. Where a PAYE person just gets paid salary and bonus. And now those are the most highly taxed sources of income in the UK, definitely, in the UK.
Climb Mount Everest. That is one of that's in my bucket list. You're laughing, but that is the facts right there. I'd love to do that. That is something I'm looking forward to do, hopefully.
Climb Everest.
Mount Everest. I mean, okay, not the very tip of Mount Everest, maybe the base camp at least.
They're talking about mental health. Well, if you went out and got some exercise in the fresh air, that would improve your mental health. It will make you feel better.
That's true. That is true. I wholeheartedly agree. But then for some people, it's how do you find the motivation to, especially when it comes to riding a bicycle, to do it again and again and again and again? It's a cycle that you have to be used to. How do you do it? What makes you wake up in the morning and decide, hey, I'm going to pick my bike up today. I'm going to cycle. What makes you want to do that?
What makes me want to do that?
Yeah. What do you like? What could you give listeners, like people listening in right now? What kind of tip could you give them?
Well, the first tip I would give them, if you haven't tried it before, try it. It can open up new horizons. It will make you fitter. It will definitely make you fitter. Cycling is one of the best forms of aerobic exercise you can do.
It sounds like, if you think about it, yeah, it sounds like great fun. Because what essentially you're trying to say is also at the same time, when if you look at it from this perspective, with regards to mental health, especially when you look at it with mental health, this is another way to fight it. I feel like you go outside, you meet more people, you interact with, socially, you'll interact with more people, and you're keeping fit, you're making connections, you're breathing in the good and exhaling the bad. I feel like that's a great thing right there.
Absolutely. Yeah, you got a better way with words than I have, I'll tell you. But you're quite right. What you say there. You're quite right.
I've been doing this for quite some time. Hey, you'll get the hang of it.
I've been doing it for about 10 minutes now, so yeah.
That I can never really understand people staying in one room the whole day when you can have the world to see. I am a traveler. I travel. I love traveling. Traveling is just one of the things I do. And on top of my bucket list was, to one time, hopefully when I get there, go to Nepal and climb Mount Everest. That is one of that's in my bucket list. You're laughing, but that is the facts right there. I'd love to do that. That is something I'm looking forward to do, hopefully.
Climb Everest.
Mount Everest. I mean, okay, not the very tip of Mount Everest, maybe the base camp at least.
Base camp, yeah.
At least.
Would you be able to cycle there?
Oh.
And it gives them something to look at, and it makes them laugh. It makes them laugh, so that's why I do it.
Oh, and it could be a really good pickup line as well. Ladies who ask, "Hey, excuse me, so why are you wearing something so colorful?" Hey, you can always have something up on your sleeve. Got me thinking. You want to stand out. Why do you want to stand out though so much, especially with these kind of shirts when you're riding? There must be a purpose behind it, right?
Well, when you say a purpose, Nick, what I do, I wear the shirts mainly because they're nice and bright, so they make me visible, especially if I'm riding on the road.
Okay. That's very important, right? Because you want cars,
very important. And also, like, people see me in like calves, and perhaps I shouldn't be saying this on here, I suppose, but in the bar afterwards.
All right.
And it gives them something to look at, and it makes them laugh. It makes them laugh, so that's why I do it.
Oh, and it could be a really good pickup line as well. Ladies who ask, "Hey, excuse me, so why are you wearing something so colorful?" Hey, you can always have something up on your sleeve. You look like a guy who would do.
You know me too well. You know me too well, Nick.
Welcome back to The Buzz with me, Josh, Kingsley and Tim, where we talk about everything from business to finance to tech. If you want to get in contact with us, you can do by calling us on 07852 473 473. We are live on Facebook, Twitter and Instagram. If you've got any comments, leave them and we will talk about any talking points that there are. Just before the break, we'll talk about cryptocurrency. Tim, your mic is muted, dude, so we can't hear you.
My bad. We've actually got a couple of comments that...
You have got a couple of comments, right? Okay, so bring up the first one.
We've got Angelique Kane. He's saying that he wants to know if people want to play FIFA. If anyone is actually keen, you guys can... maybe...
If you want a game of FIFA, leave me your... It depends on what console you're on. If you're on Xbox, I can't play with you. If you're on PS4, I'll give you a game after the show.
Straight away. Hey, please make sure you put down your thing here too. I'll give you a game as well.
Give me your PSN if you're on PlayStation.
We can maybe stream that as well.
Yeah, that'd be beautiful.
Yeah,
that'd
be good. That's another show, the gaming hour, where we just play games.
Oh my god. Let's do the stream on Twitch.
Yeah, let's do it. Let's do it. Thank you very much for your comment there, Angly Chain. And we'll obviously I'll play 100%.
Yeah.
So coming back to the topics now, when it comes to basketball, we had a cool match by the Clippers today. Beautiful.
Right, this is probably where I'm going to go quiet because I don't really watch basketball. So I'll let you two crack on. Anything football, I'm there. The basketball, that's probably where I draw the line.
Yeah, you go into a cave, we'll catch you in a bit. But
I'll just do this.
Talking about basketball, we had the Clippers beat the Suns for the first game of the series. CP3 is back, but super happy for them. I'm thinking, Clippers or whoever. I don't think they're going to go to a 7. I think they're going to decide on a 6 because I don't know that. If I would place a bet, I would place a bet on that. But
You place a bet
coming
on the
into
6 game.
yeah. Good defense. I mean, those highlights at least I saw. Pat Webb is locking Booker up.
Is it
Yeah.
obvious that you two are talking a foreign language to me? my knowledge of basketball goes as far as Michael Jordan, LeBron James, and the San Antonio Spurs. That's probably about as far as it goes.
Oh, dear. You didn't even say Kobe Bryant.
Obviously Kobe Bryant, Kobe.
Yeah, this is where we go. Talking about the Milwaukee Bucks and the talking about the Bucks and the Hawks. The game is coming up. We also have a segment where we talk about the owner of the team.
Yeah, Aaron Rodgers. I was actually quite shocked that Aaron Rodgers, he's an NFL player, I'm sure, no? Yeah, so I'm quite shocked about that he's also part owner of Milwaukee Bucks, because when did that happen? I do not know. I really didn't know about this. This is actually quite new information to me. Also quite shocking, I'm not gonna lie. So
what Joshua, we'll include you in the conversation, obviously, but
let's try. We can at least try.
What's your take on sportsman? How I see it is, regardless of which sport, obviously if he played basketball, it would be a massive advantage, but how I see it is sportsmen owning sports teams, and that the players, little needs are seen to, because the owner has been in that spot. And you have Michael Jordan owning teams, you have people like Kevin Durant eventually owning teams. When these people have been in this spot, they know what the players really want, and they invest in those things, right?
Yeah, 100%. I mean, if we talk about sportsmen owning teams, let's look at David Beckham, for example.
Yeah,
like one of the greatest British footballers of all time. I mean, that's probably quite a controversial statement, because I'm pretty sure there'll be a lot of people that disagree with that. But him, I mean, is it FC Miami he owns or something like that?
I think so.
Or into Miami.
It's Inter Miami.
Yeah. So he owns them, and then we're talking like recently, Jamie Vardy has he's invested in an American football team. Well, it's an American soccer team. For all the Americans that are watching, we got to be culturally diverse. But it's
in fact, even to actually shift the conversation just a bit as well, LeBron James, did you know that he also owns part share of Liverpool?
Oh, for real?
Yeah, he owns part share of Liverpool.
Okay.
Around, let me, if I can date it back to 2018. You see, 2018, that year in which Liverpool won the UCL. 2018-2019 season, they won the UCL.
You mean when they beat my beloved Spurs? Yeah.
Do you support the Spurs?
I'm a Spurs fan, my
Come on, man. How are you going to support them?
Because someone's got to.
Oh, come on, man. The villainy, the scoundrel. Ugh.
Oh, you an Arsenal fan, are you?
Of course I am. I wouldn't feel this much hate for Tottenham if I didn't. What's it? Yeah, Liverpool, when they played against Spurs and won the UCL that year in 2019, obviously around then the stock had appreciated for Liverpool themselves. LeBron James had actually invested in Liverpool, if I can remember, because I remember looking at a report about this. He had invested in Liverpool in 2013 or 2015. He decided he spoke to, I remember, with Nike. You know how he's got a deal with Nike. He's got a sponsorship with Nike. Rather than accepting money and all of this and all of that, instead of him to just accept cash, he decided, do you know what? No, I'd rather take a share out of the Nike. Out of Nike, and he also decided to go and take a share from Liverpool as well. And with that share being taken out so early within time, Liverpool were around 2015, 2016, they were still progressing to make their team a bit better. So around then, remember, Coutinho was going high and strong. Firmino had just came in and he was also doing pretty well. Mane, they'd acquired Mane. Then in 2018, they'd acquired Salah, So the team was just getting better. They were focused on attack, and then defense was a bit of a struggle. 2018, I believe. It was 2018 that they'd acquired Van Dijk. I'm pretty sure, no? 2018 or 2019?
He's been there a couple of seasons.
Okay.
He's been there a couple of seasons. He's the world's most defensive defender. World's most expensive defender.
Yeah.
The deal was worth £75 million or something.
It's pretty insane, isn't it?
Yeah. But when we're talking about sports people owning teams and stuff, you've got to take into account there may be a conflict of interest. If you've got a footballer owning a football team, or a basketballer owning a basketball team. If you're retired, by all means, you do you. But when we're talking about the likes of LeBron James, who is an active basketball player, I don't know if he's retired yet.
No.
Obviously, we're gonna see LeBron James's acting debut in Space Jam 2. I'm looking extremely forward to that.
I cannot wait to watch that. I cannot wait.
I mean, we saw it. We saw the. We spoke about this a couple of weeks ago, about a week ago. LeBron James' value, because obviously he's when we're touching back on the old cryptocurrency, he's got NFTs himself, he's got NFTs of himself. His value is only going to appreciate in value with the like of that film.
100%, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, we saw what we did to Michael Jordan. He's only going to happen to LeBron James as well. Go back to the subject. When we've got sports people owning sports teams, you've got to be careful that there's not a conflict of interest. So obviously, Aaron Rodgers, who is an NFL player owning an NBA team, there's not really that much of a conflict of interest. I've got an article here about some other people, some other sports stars that own sports teams. Steve Nash, who was an NBA MVP, he bought the Vancouver Whitecaps, who made their MLS debut in 2011. Venus and Serena Williams, as we all know them as the sisters of tennis, they are undeniably two of the greatest sisters to ever play tennis. Indeed, they own a small stake in Miami Dolphins, who are
crazy.
An NFL team. Yao Ming, who we obviously know is the biggest, tallest basketball player ever. I mean, that's one name I do know of. He's bought the Shanghai Sharks,
which is also quite crazy.
Shaquille O'Neal has bought a small stake in the Sacramento Kings.
I heard about that. I heard about that. And do you know what? It's I don't know what's actually triggered this whole impulse in players wanting to buy a share or just buy players. I don't know what's triggered this whole impulse, but
the thing is, the sports industry is very generic in a sense that sports teams are basically run the same way. You need your marketing, you need your merchandise, you need your finances, you need your actual team.
Yeah,
the entertainment value. When we look, you can take the same principles from a football team and apply them to a basketball team because the influence is still the same. You're still going to need that fan interaction. You're still going to need that presence. You're still going to need that success. And obviously, when we talk about David Beckham's purchase of Inter Miami, obviously they didn't perform too well in the MLS this season. But it's a first year thing. It's not going to happen overnight. It's a work in progress. So that's going to be something that we should keep an eye on because I see them doing very, very well. Obviously, David Beckham knows how to knows the ins and outs of a football team. He's been involved in football all of his life.
Yeah, exactly. In fact, even speaking of which, I do have a question, and this is actually straight and tied up with football. I've had this conversation with so many people when I've asked this question, and some people have said yes, some people have said no. So I'd like to know from you.
Go on.
I don't know if it's an unpopular opinion, but I'm going to say it anyway. Unpopular opinion, I feel that midfielders or most midfielders make the best managers.
Frank Lampard, he's a good manager.
I feel like he was just dumped into a big team way too early. He needs to start small.
I mean, that's all well and good, but then when we look at the majority of captains who captain teams, they're either defensive midfielders or defenders. You don't see an attacking, you don't see a striker as a captain that often. The reason for that is obviously the back line controls the flow of the team. You always play out of the back.
Yeah.
So,
that's also with midfield, midfielder.
I mean, Frank Lampard is probably the exception to that rule. because obviously he was an attacking midfielder. I believe he was an attacking midfielder / striker. Like, I think he played in both.
I don't know about forward, but I know he's an attacking midfielder. I don't know about striker though. That's quite.
But he definitely scored some goals, didn't he? Like,
oh yeah. He was. I think he was one of the highest scoring.
His free kicks were undeniably the greatest. Some of his free kicks were brilliant. I
don't know how he managed to do it, but he did it.
I don't know. I think it's subjective. I think it's very, very subjective. Obviously, Ryan Mason, who was interim, was. I just got taken off the screen then, Tim. Thanks for that.
I was wondering what just happened.
Yeah, so obviously Ryan Mason was the interim manager for Spurs. He was a midfielder. He was a midfielder.
Yeah.
So, I mean, I can see where your logic comes from, but I don't necessarily think that's the case. I think it's more to do with knowledge of the game. If the more knowledge you have in the game, the better manager you'll be. Obviously, Scott Parker, he's another one, brilliant manager in himself. It's a shame that he's got a really, really bad team to work with.
Yeah,
but yeah, I mean, I can definitely see the logic.
Like, let me put it to you this way. If I could wrap it around for you. So basically, yes, we've had Frank Lampard, who didn't do too well with Chelsea,
Did well with Derby, though. Did well with Derby, though.
There we go. See, he didn't do too well with Chelsea, and Mikel Arteta, who didn't do too well with Arsenal. Reason being why I say those two are exceptions is because they got given big teams, big clubs to work with too early in their managing careers. They needed to start small, in my opinion. Yeah. That's the reason why you see people like Xavi, who is excelling very, very well. And you know that when he was on the field, his knowledge for the game was incredible. This guy could see every single pass before a man was even running to the spot. You know.
Remember when I said defensive midfielders?
Yep.
Greatest manager of all time in the current game, Pep Guardiola.
Oh, there we go.
Defensive midfielder, undeniably one of the greatest managers to ever step foot in the managerial booth, I think.
Yeah, and I can agree with, he's one of. I don't know about greatest, but I can definitely say one of. Another person I can say probably fits that criteria, Steven Gerrard. He just recently won with the Rangers. They took over the whole bloody league. Like, look at that. To be fair, I'm probably going to throw an opinion out there. Very controversial at best. Scottish Premiership teams are probably the equivalent of a Championship team in English football. But then at the same time,
that out there.
But then keep in mind, remember, these are still small teams and small leagues that you're building up with. This is all stuff you need to put in your portfolio as a manager. So he did pretty well.
The special one, Jose Mourinho, not so special anymore, but he was a midfielder.
Yeah, he was a midfielder.
Until he went to Spurs, he'd won a title with every team he'd managed.
There we go. And well, the Spurs curse is real. Sorry to say, but
it is. It's Spurs. We are the only team that can come third in a 2-horse race. I'm saying that now. Right, so we're going to take a short break now. If you want to get involved in the conversation, you can do so by getting in touch. You can call us 07852 473 473. We are live on Facebook, Twitch, Twitter, and Instagram. If you've got any comments, let us. Drop a comment, and if there's any talking points you want us to talk about, we will talk about them live on air. You're tuning into The Buzz with me, Josh, Tim, and Kingsley. We'll be back after this short break. Good afternoon.
Good afternoon.
Now, there's a lot of conversation around who pays more taxes, if it is the rich or if it is the poor, right? But when you are basically going out and during a day, you go to a restaurant, you have to pay taxes there. If you buy a car, you have to pay taxes there. So why is it even a conversation that the rich pay less taxes or the poor pay more taxes? Why is it a conversation like that?
Because it's true that the rich generally pay less tax. A rich person walks into a Tesco's or a Sainsbury's, they're not going to get a different bill than another person, right? They're still going to pay the same VAT on those goods. They're still going to pay the same thing. So that's all the same. However, the differences come in if you can pay yourself from your own company, you can structure it in a way that you pay less income tax through paying a bit of salary, paying dividends, and so forth, and then also deferring income. Also, your pension payments or contributions can be different. So that increases your tax sort of gap, if you want to use it that way. Where a PAYE person just gets paid salary and bonus. And now those are the most highly taxed sources of income in the UK, definitely, in the UK. We've seen it, right? If an owner of a large public traded company does something wrong, irrelevant of what that company does or how valuable that company is, the stock generally falls into a pool of nothing, right? Because in a public company where the stock is traded openly on the stock exchange, the value of that stock is driven by supply and demand, it's driven by emotion, it's driven by news, it's driven by quite a lot of variables over and above the actual accounting or total net worth of that company. I mean, we've seen it, right? If an owner of a large public traded company does something wrong, irrelevant of what that company does or how valuable that company is, the stock generally falls into a pool of nothing, right? And the company may still have value, it may still be doing quite a good things.
Again. But now, if you say to a child, if I went up to a child and said, "You've had one to forget," God, there'd be an inquest. Why did you reject my son? Oh, I haven't rejected your son.
I want to talk about, how the generation gap, has how much it's changed, especially when you check the youth nowadays in comparison, to people back in the day.
I'd say when I was younger, it was more disciplined. Not now.
In comparison to now.
Not at all. Not now. The way things are nowadays, the younger generation, you seem that they can't accept the word no. If that makes sense. They can't
accept rejection, essentially, is all you're trying to say.
Yeah, they can't accept the word no. So if you how did I do? Or you didn't do very well, and they get upset. And when I was a youngster, my father used to say to me, because I used to be sport mad when I was very young, well, still am sport mad, but like participating in different sports. And if I had a bad game, for example, he'd say to me, "You had one to forget." That's it.
Your dad sounds like a smart guy. I mean, yeah, that's the real fact of the matter, yeah.
He'd say to me, "You had one to forget. Get over it." And that was it. So I dust myself down and do it again. But now, if you say to a child, if I went up to a child and said, "You've had one to forget," God, there'd be an inquest. Why did you reject my son? Oh, I haven't rejected your son. Or daughter. I've just told them that they need to buck their ideas up.
That's the truth right there. I mean, if you think about it, if you check the generations, like right now in the US as well, I've seen a lot of these things as well. In the UK, you get medals for participation. But what's the point? What are you trying to? Yeah, what's the point? Either you win or you lose. People are so afraid to put that whole notion of losing. When it comes to right now, the generation gap is just crazy. How much a lot has changed. Social media has taken control of our lives, and we don't even realize it anymore. We're crippled because of it.
That's absolutely right, Nick. Because, as you said, nowadays it seems that you get rewarded for failure. For the life of me, Nick, I can't get my head around that. Perhaps I'm just getting old and morbid. I don't know. I just can't get my head around how you could be rewarded for failure. And it gives them something to look at, and it makes them laugh. It makes them laugh. So that's why I do it.
Oh, and it could be a really good pickup line as well. Ladies who ask, "Hey, excuse me, so why are you wearing something so colorful?" I mean, hey, you can always have something up on your sleeve. I mean, got me thinking. You want to stand out. Why do you want to stand out though so much, especially with these kind of shirts when you're riding? There must be a purpose behind it, right?
Well, when you say a purpose, Nick, what I do, I wear the shirts, mainly one because they're nice and bright. So they make me visible, especially if I'm riding on the road.
Okay. I mean, yeah, that's very important, right? because
Very
you want
important, yeah.
cars. Yeah.
Very important. And also, like, people see me in like cafes, and perhaps I shouldn't be saying this on here, I suppose, but in the bar afterwards.
All right.
And it gives them something to look at, and it makes them laugh. It makes them laugh. So that's why I do it.
Oh, and it could be a really good pickup line as well. Girls, ladies who ask, "Hey, excuse me, so why are you wearing something so colorful?" I mean, hey, you can always have something up on your sleeve. I mean, you look like a guy who would do.
You know me too well. You know me too well, Nick.
Climb Mount Everest. That is one of that's in my bucket list. You're laughing, but that is the facts right there. I'd love to do that. That is something I'm looking forward to do. Hopefully,
Climb Everest.
Mount Everest. I mean, okay, not the very tip of Mount Everest. Maybe the base camp at least.
You're talking about mental health. Well, if you went out and got some exercise in the fresh air, that will improve your mental health. It will make you feel better.
That's true. That is true. I wholeheartedly agree. But then for some people, it's how do you find the motivation to, especially when it comes to riding a bicycle, to do it again and again and again and again? It's a cycle that you have to be used to. How do you do it? What makes you wake up in the morning and decide, hey, I'm going to pick my bike up today. I'm going to cycle. What makes you want to do that?
What makes me want to do that?
Yeah. What do you like? What could you give listeners, like people listening in right now? What kind of tip could you give them?
Well, the first tip I would give them, if you haven't tried it before, try it. It can open up new horizons. It will make you fitter. It will definitely make you fitter. Cycling is one of the best forms of aerobic exercise you can do.
It sounds like, I mean, if you think about it, yeah, it sounds like great fun. Because what essentially you're trying to say is also at the same time, when you, if you look at it from this perspective, with regards to mental health, especially when you look at it with mental health, this is another way to fight it. I feel like you go outside, you meet more people, you interact with, socially, you'll interact with more people, and you're keeping fit, you're making connections, you're breathing in the good and exhaling the bad. I feel like that's a great thing right there.
Absolutely. Yeah, you got a better way with words than I have, I'll tell you. But you're quite right. What you say there. You're quite right.
I mean, I've been doing this for quite some time. I mean, hey, you'll get the hang of it.
I've been doing it for about 10 minutes now, so yeah.
That I can never really understand people staying in one room the whole day when you can have the world to see. I am a traveler. I travel. I love traveling. Traveling is just one of the things I do. And yeah, on top of my bucket list was, to one time, hopefully when I get there, go to Nepal and climb Mount Everest. That is one of that's in my bucket list. You're laughing, but that is the facts right there. I'd love to do that. That is something I'm looking forward to do, hopefully.
Climb Everest.
Mount Everest. I mean, okay, not the very tip of Mount Everest, maybe the base camp at least.
Base camp, yeah.
At least.
Would you be able to cycle there?
Oh.
Again. But now, if you say to a child, if I went up to a child and said, you've had one to forget, God, there'd be an inquest. Me, why did you reject my son? Well, I haven't rejected your son.
I want to talk about, how the generation gap, how much it's changed, especially when you check the youth nowadays in comparison, to people back in the day.
I'd say when I was younger, it was more disciplined. Not now.
In comparison to now.
Not at all. Not now. The way things are nowadays, the younger generation, you seem that they can't accept the word no. If that makes sense. They can't
accept rejection, essentially, is all you're trying to say.
Yeah, they can't accept the word no. So if you how did I do? Or you didn't do very well, and they get upset. And when I was a youngster, my father used to say to me, because I used to be sport mad when I was very young, well, I still am sport mad, but like participating in different sports. And if I had a bad game, for example, my dad say to me, you had one to forget. That's it.
Your dad sounds like a smart guy. I mean, yeah, that's the real fact of the matter, yeah.
You know, he said to me, "You had one to forget. Get over it," and that was it. So I dust myself down and do it again. But now, if you say to a child, if I went up to a child and said, "You've had one to forget," God, there'd be an inquest. An inquest. They'd have to me. Why did you reject my son? Oh, I haven't rejected your son. Or daughter. I've just told them that they need to buck their ideas up.
That's the truth right there. I mean, if you think about it, if you check the generations, like right now in the US as well, I've seen a lot of these things as well. In the UK, you know, you get medals for participation. But what's the point? What are you trying to? Yeah, what's the point? Either you win or you lose. People are so afraid to put that whole notion of losing. You know, when it comes to right now, the generation gap is just crazy. You know how much. A lot has changed. Social media has taken control of our lives, and we don't even realize it anymore. We're crippled because of it.
That's absolutely right, Nick. Because, as you said, you know, nowadays it seems that you get rewarded for failure. You know, for the life of me, Nick, I can't get my head around that. Perhaps I'm just getting old and morbid. I don't know. I just can't get my head around how you could be rewarded for failure.
Welcome back to the Buzz with me, Josh, and Kings, and Tim, who is hiding. There he is. On this show, we are talking about everything from tech to business to entrepreneurship to finance. Remember to tune in on Thursday from 12 till 1 when Tim has a discussion with Chris Slater-Jones regarding everything finance. I tuned in this past week and it was actually very, very interesting. So if you've got any questions about things such as taking out a mortgage or anything to do with assets, make sure to tune into that show. Very informative discussion and definitely worth the time to listen. So just before the break, we were talking about the sportsman influence on the ownership of teams. Obviously, Aaron Rodgers, who is reportedly one of the owners of the Milwaukee Bucks. Yes. I believe that's the right team.
That's right. That's right.
Yeah.
And NBA, anything like that just goes over my head. So we're talking everything to do with the influence from sports personalities owning football clubs or such as sports clubs. We spoke about David Beckham owning Inter Miami. We spoke about Venus Williams and Serena Williams owning a share in the Miami Dolphins as well.
Yes. Also spoke about our opinions on whether we feel that midfielders make the best managers, but then also that comes down to just IQ. Yeah,
comes down to IQ and just intelligence, doesn't it?
Yeah, I still feel like midfielders make the best managers because at the end of the day, it is midfielders that have to make majority of the decisions to create a goal. No, they are the ones that kind of, you know, they're pretty much the second coaches on the pitch.
Yeah,
you know,
I mean, this is a discussion we could have on the sports show, but in terms of a business standpoint, you need a manager that's going to knows how to run the team in terms of business. Because if you don't have someone that knows how to run a team, you're not going to attract the right attention, and then your finances are obviously going to plummet. Because
in fact, I've even got a question, seeing as we're onto the business standpoint of sport, and we've even spoken about cryptocurrency. Now, gents, just quickly take a moment because I remember I was given the question. Oh, Tim's disappeared again. The question that was put forward. In fact, you asked me this question, Josh, about cryptocurrency in the next 5 years. Yeah. So where do I see the cashless society and everything like that, cryptocurrency being used as a form of payment? You see, if we get to that point, think about football now. We're paid that, what's it? The Sheikh, is it? I can't remember. The Sheikh of Man City, Sheikh Mansour, that's paying so much for these players. I mean, recently there was a 100 million bid put out for Jack Grealish.
Yeah.
100 million. Now think about, this is what we were talking about, great British pounds here. In 5 or 10 or so years, when Bitcoin may take over currency and become
I know where you're going with this. Can you just imagine that?
Imagine it. Do you see?
Can you just imagine? Jack Grealish makes 10 Bitcoin move to Man City.
See, now we look at that in terms of we look at that at the standpoint of business now. And Tim, we've also spoken about how technology is pretty much taking over our lifestyles and going forward. We've spoken about how we've got virtual reality being able to be implemented within businesses, architecture, industrial design, things like that.
Sports as well, man. Sports as
And
well.
yep, and sports.
Education.
And sports. Yep.
Well,
Sports
so you got
education.
you got VAR. Obviously, VAR is only recently come into football, but it's been involved in sports such as rugby for years.
What, VAR?
Yeah. Rugby had VAR for years to come.
I mean, maybe it's
Plenty
because
of
I don't
time.
really watch. Maybe it's because I don't really watch it, so I wouldn't know. But I may need to do my research on this because I really did not know about that. But
Well, that's where the touchline technology comes from. It comes from the same principle as rugby.
oh, I see. That is actually a very interesting thing for me to actually find out now today.
Same with
NFL. Same as NFL as well.
Well, I'll be.
NFL they use VAR to determine, because if there's a touchdown that happens and say the foot just goes off the line or off the touch line, that piece of information can determine whether it was a touchdown or a no goal.
Oh, I see. Oh, wait. So as in like an instant replay?
Yeah. That kind of thing. Yeah.
Oh no! In
That's exactly
what
what VAR is. That's exactly what VAR is.
See, I knew in that case. I already knew. No. I knew about that.
How
already.
did you not know this?
No, I knew about that. I thought it was something completely different. No, I knew.
Producers, please clip that. That's an advertisement in itself.
I'm here thinking we are way behind, and Josh is like way ahead, but he's talking about like third umpire stuff.
Yeah, I'm so gobsmacked. No, I know about instant replay because they've even got this in basketball. I look up, there's instant replay every single time.
Bro,
I know about instant replay.
It's the same as cricket. They use it to determine whether or not it's a leg before wicket.
Oh my goodness.
VAR stands for video assistant referee.
And,
what we are talking about is augmented reality.
Yeah, that's completely different. That's completely VAR is completely different. I was wondering.
Augmented reality, right?
Yeah.
This reminds me of explaining something to my, grandparents or something.
But augmented reality would be the same thing, though, surely, because an augmented reality is basically a false reality.
You can integrate it for sure. We were talking about how AR rather, that's augmented reality. Actually, when it comes to Josh, I hope you don't get upset about the fact that we laughed, but we were basically talking about how AR is it's like augmented reality. You need to take it up and see how you can.
So we're talking things like Pokemon Go and stuff.
Yeah,
exactly,
like that. Yeah,
oh my life. There are tons. You know what? There are tons of apps that incorporate that reality, obviously.
Yeah.
And Pokemon Go. There was one that I can't remember what it was called, but it was like a treasure hunt kind of thing where you would go around with your phone in your hand, and you'd see these little treasure boxes, and you could win prizes from that.
Yeah, so that is one way. I mean, if you're talking about sports, do you have Snapchat, Josh?
I do, yes.
Yeah, so you click the filter. You know how to get your filters on your phone, right? Yeah. You swipe towards the left, right? Don't swipe right, but swipe left, and you get some AR games. So you can play things like tic-tac-toe. You can play. You have this guy running around, and you have to basically shoot him with your phone. You have a bow and arrow, and you have to basically shoot him with your phone. It's all biometrics integrated with the game. I think basically Snapchat is killing it currently in terms of AR, and Facebook is actually pushing for. Facebook actually has about 25% of their staff working on AR. That is, if you have heard of Oculus,
Oculus Rift,
like So it's basically like the goggles. You have the joysticks, right? So if you're playing golf, you can basically play golf at home. You can basically play tennis at home. Just a matter of getting your goggles on and then just getting into the game.
Do you know what I think would be cool when we're talking about augmented reality? In terms of sports and stuff, augmented reality, there's something that could be really, really cool if teams could bring this in. So, say for example, you're at Wembley Stadium and you've missed a goal that happened point blank.
Yes.
If you could sit there and hold your phone up to the pitch, and you could see the replay of the goal happening in augmented reality time.
Oh.
That would be quality.
No, I
Yeah,
believe
man.
Tim. We did.
Yeah, we
I
did
believe,
talk
Tim,
about
were
this. We
speaking
did talk about
weren't
it.
we?
How
Yeah.
crazy would that be?
Yeah. So when it comes to, let's say the Kings, why don't you explain it to him, the courtside seats thing we spoke about?
Yeah. So basically, with augmented reality, and when we were talking about sports tech and like the involvement with basketball, baseball, stuff like that. So say you have the goggles, you've got the augmented reality goggles and everything. You put them on. You know how with COVID, the pandemic, there was no fans in stadiums, no fans in arenas, things like that. So people had to just watch from home. In the NBA, what they did for the playoffs, because it was happening in the bubble, they got like screens or like holographic screens of like fans watching from home, and they just projected them into the seats. So everyone was literally just celebrating from there. What this augmented reality would do is basically, when we were to have fans in the arenas and stuff, augmented reality will give fans the opportunity to be able to enjoy courtside seats from the comfort of their own home, watching the game live, being able to see LeBron or whoever running past them, sat next to Beyonce or Jay-Z, or sat next to Kevin Hart and Will
Kanye
Smith.
West smiling and then looking really angry the next second.
Yeah, literally. Like, it gives fans the opportunity to enjoy courtside from the comfort of their own home, wearing AR and being able to watch the game in real time.
But for that to happen, you'd need to invest in AR goggles.
Yeah,
I mean,
exactly.
It's more of an investment in itself.
Yeah, that's pretty much what it is. Yeah.
But we are at the point where, we were just talking about the costs as well. So when it comes to your costs, when the mobile phone came out, it was somewhere around, let's say, for example, it was around, how much was it? It was almost the same cost as now. But, that's because it was only in small production quantities.
Yeah.
But now you get, phones at around just a couple of, few bucks, and
you can pick up a phone for 20 quid. You can pick up a phone for 20 quid.
Exactly. And it's a smartphone. You have a pretty decent camera. It's just that it might not be the flagship level of Samsung or Apple, for example. But you just like you couldn't even imagine getting a full screen phone for that price back then. And we are still at the point where these are around $300 a headset. But eventually down the line, it's going to come into just glasses like you're wearing now, and eventually after that, it'll become just a contact lens.
Yeah, literally.
That would be insane. That would be insane to reduce it down from something so bulky to just a pair of glasses, or something you can put on your eyes.
Like, what's it? If
you
those
know what that reminds me of? Have you ever seen The First Purge? The film The First Purge.
No.
There's a scene in the film. There's a scene in the film. Obviously, it's if you're familiar with the Purge series, it's all about the 12 hours where there's no law. The First Purge. There's a part of it where they're signing up for this purge, and part of their equipment is they have these contact lenses that go in their eyes, and it records everything. And if you see someone, it brings up like a list of who this person is. It gives them all the personal details. So that's kind of like the augmented reality feel from that film. But so this sort of stuff has been predicted years ago.
Yeah, pretty much. There's another comparison I gave it, and that was like Iron Man. So you see, like Iron Man, or even the Avengers series. I remember I spoke with Tim about this as well. When I don't know if you remember in the first, I think it was the first Iron Man where
you get it in all the parts where they go into Tony's office, right?
Yeah.
You watched Avengers, right, Josh?
Yeah, I've seen Avengers. I'm a massive Marvel fan.
Yeah. So obviously, I'm sure whenever Iron Man's fixing his suit, whenever they always go into the office, he's always able to just bring up the screen, swipe, collect whatever he needs to do.
RoboCop.
There we go.
That has augmented reality in it.
Yeah, literally, augmented reality has literally been implemented into so many films, but we don't pay attention to it because it's not actually a part of our lives.
The biggest one, The Matrix.
I also said this before as well.
Entering the Matrix, that's an augmented reality, but it can inflict real life.
Yep, there we go. But we don't pay attention to it because of the fact that we
haven't seen it before.
Film.
It's all scientific fiction to us.
There we go. But is it science fiction? It's going to be science soon, and it may be very long. Yeah, exactly. It's science, but it will not be fictional for a very long time. Sooner or later, we might be able to just put on our pair of shades and we could see everything we need to see. Like, I believe, Tim, remember we were speaking about the Snapchat glasses. and how brands were working together to be able to help people to be able to like see what type of clothing that they would want to see on themselves just through these shades, you know. So like, say for example, I'd want to see myself wearing a Rolex. I could put the Snapchat glasses on. I'd say, "Can I see a Rolex?" or something like that, because they ask for voice commands as well. They ask, "Can I see a Rolex?" Show you how it look on your wrist. You like it? Cool. Or can I see this fit from Zara? I want to see it on me. Take a look.
This is the thing with when we're speaking about like technology and stuff. Like, there's always going to be a risk when it comes to technology. Like me and Tim discussed on Wednesday about data breaches, and obviously Google, the EU have launched a probe into Google about like data breaches and stuff.
Yeah.
So with something like that, nothing is going to be secure. It's very hard to secure something like that. So again, with the risk factor taken into account, is it something that we're going to see in, say, 10 years, or is it going to be something that we're probably not going to see for at least another 25, 30 years?
It's going to be normal very soon. I'd say give it about 2 to 3 years. Almost everyone will start having, it'll be like the new smartphone or smartwatch to have a VR headset at home.
Yeah. I mean, I just did a little quick Google search of the Oculus Rift. £300 for a brand new Oculus Rift. I mean, it's not really that much when you think about it. I mean, obviously, if you haven't really got the money to do that kind of thing, you sort of sit there and go, that's expensive. But if you're invested in Bitcoin and you take that money out, £300 pennies.
That's an investment.
Welcome to the buzz.
That's right. Let us know what you think about VR or AR when it comes to tech, when it comes to sports, integrating it with education or the future basically. You can call us up on 07852473473, or you can also comment on our video, right, guys?
Straight up. Even speaking on just all of this technology stuff as well, like as it seems right now, me and Tim have already had our eyes set on so much happening in the future. Like right now, our minds have literally just gone so much beyond just the case of thinking, even way past reality. But it's like all of this may potentially become real soon. You know, technology is what you make of it, and at this point,
from a business standpoint, it's a very, very smart move.
Oh, 100%. Even along with business, speaking on AR, augmented reality, we spoke on industrial designers, architects.
Tried to touch on that as well,
So you know how
estate agents, man.
They've got even estate agents and people that want to view.
You go imagine viewing a house in Spain from the comfort of your living room in Crawley. Like,
imagine that. Like, honestly, like, look at it this way. With these industrial designers and architects create blueprints, and obviously they create blueprints for this building and stuff like that. You know that they have to keep everything accurate and to the T. Sometimes you may get people that won't be able to follow blueprints. You have augmented reality right there. You have the goggles. You give the person the goggles to be able to see what it is that they're going to build. Sometimes with architects, they can get everything they need to get out onto on paper, but they won't be able to get everybody to see the vision as much as words can take them. Do you know what I mean? So those goggles will always be helpful, because when you can give the person the goggles to be like, now take a look at what I'm saying. Now you see the whole thing in all of its glory. See what it is that they're trying to get down on paper into real life.
The artist's vision will be something completely different, because obviously, when we see like advertisements for houses being built, we see the artist's vision of what these houses are going to look like. It's a picture. Imagine seeing it as a video.
Because currently you have models, right? You get models, and how they make it is with the paper. You guys have probably made these structures at home, of houses or buildings and stuff like that.
But, Lego.
Yes, Lego.
So Lego, for instance. But architects actually make it with different materials. At least now, with cardboard, or they actually paint it. They put miniature trees, things like that. But with AR, what you're going to do is you're going to basically integrate the physics onto, let's say, a couple of blocks of bricks or whatever, and you're going to set it up and set it in a way where the app or the software understands if it is physically possible, because if it's not, it might fall down. But now these you can basically integrate it into skyscrapers, you can integrate it in malls, things like that, and it's very similar to what we were talking about when we came to the Avengers conversation, where you had
Yeah.
Tony. Basically, if he was designing an arm of his suit, for example,
Mm.
basically, you have the arm, let's say, floating in the air like that, and
Yeah.
he takes a finger out, he puts a rocket launcher into the arm, and it's all in
Yeah.
front of him. It's like visual distance, and
Yeah.
All there.
he's
Literally.
out of
Yeah.
It's all there before he actually makes it.
Yeah.
exactly.
Literally. Like
Google have already started incorporating AR as well.
Yeah, for sure, for sure.
I know this for a fact because me and my other half, we were looking at getting a dog, and if you certain dog breeds, if you look up a dog breed on Google, sometimes there's an option to say, see what this dog would look like in real time. So you literally hold your phone there on a space, and it will show you the size of what this dog is meant to be. So you actually you're seeing this dog in your living room before you actually have it. So it's already been incorporated, but on a mainstream level, how long is it before we actually see it in as a main source? Because it was, I mean, as much as that is, I mean, augmented reality. If we're talking like estate agents and stuff, it's all well and good, but it's going to really impact. Like, obviously, we got such a really high unemployment rate as it is over here in the UK. Obviously, following COVID and stuff.
Yeah.
So that's really going to affect the job market because there's not going to be a need for a estate. Yeah, there's not going to be a need. I mean, when we're saying robots are taking over, we're talking about this is literally taking over. This is taking something where there's a huge industry, and you're significantly cutting the costs by having this.
Guys,
That is
we're
true.
talking about meetings, for example. We were talking about Kings and I were talking about meetings. It will come to the point where you don't really need to travel. Now we know we're currently talking to a screen. We've gotten used to it over the last 2 years. Zoom calls, Google Hangouts, or Microsoft meetings. These basically will be the past as well, because when you're talking about AR and meetings, you'll be basically it'll be like you're talking to someone in the Star Wars. You'll have maybe the three of us could be seated in a room somewhere up in Mars. I'd look like maybe Yoda. Kings could look like Thor, and you guys
Jabba
could
the
look like.
Hutt.
Sorry.
I'll be Jabba the Hutt.
Exactly. So this is what it's getting to. And we could be doing our podcast there. So I mean, this is where it's going. So it's just a matter of time and it's going to be adopting as fast as people adopted smartphones, and because they're going to see so many advantages in it. They're not really even. I'm pretty sure the three of us wouldn't even think twice about who would lose jobs when it comes to this in the older industry, because as long as it benefits me, brings me more convenience at a less cost, I'm definitely going for it. So when we talk about the job market, it is as important. Now, see, in terms of creativity, in terms of management skills, in terms of law, I think, and being and biohealth, or being a doctor, these industries will need that human factor. But when it comes to things like logistics, we were talking about these six-wheeler tiny carts that basically deliver things from maybe the mall to your house. It only unlocks if you
Yes.
put in the
Yeah.
code, things like that. So we need to find ways. We need to think about the future, about the next 10, 20 years, and look at how the demand for jobs in that sector will be rising, because like we were talking about, if it comes to coding, for example, the average software developer earns around $30,000 to $70,000 a year, and that is where the demand is. That is where the demand is, and this is like it or not, you need, if you want to keep up and stay relevant, have a decent income, you will need to get into software or coding. That's my take on it.
Yeah, as I think, even as you mentioned with the whole, even as we've been talking about the whole advancement of technology, the changes, innovation, and there was one particular word, adaptation. That's it. With the way technology is starting to boost and everything's just getting better and better and better. As you said, software developers are needed. People that have degrees in computer science, masters in computer science, anything that is computer related. If you are able to code, you are literally you are needed in high demand right now, because they need people that can be able to find more creative ways to be able to increase technology. Because as I've said before, as we've spoken about before earlier this week, Tim, as we've been speaking about today, Josh, technology is only going to get better and better and better. And for those that do not want to comply with it, it's either you adapt or be left behind.
It's a blessing and a curse at the same time, though, isn't it? Really,
it is indeed.
I mean, if because we're coming towards the end of of the discussion now. Like, so I mean, if there's anything to take away from this, like the one advice for anyone that's watching this right now, like if you're a student or you are at a young age where you still have your whole future ahead of you, one thing I would strongly recommend: don't go to university and study something stupid like sports or music.
Yeah.
Use that opportunity to take a degree in something like computer science or structural engineering, because with that kind of with augmented reality and computers and technology slowly starting to take effect and taking a hold of the real world and becoming more relied on than ever, we're going to need people that know how to operate this software. We're going to need people that know how to build these machines, who can actually code software. Use that opportunity to do that kind of course. Even me now, I'm doing an open university course starting in September in computer science. Before I even discuss any of this, I've already enrolled. I'm just waiting for a start date. So because I can see a market in it. I can see a market in computer science. I can see a market in.
There is a market already. I mean, imagine earning between $30,000 to $70,000 on average. This is an average. These are not the senior. These are not the C-level executives. These are average earnings a year, and that's pretty big. And there is a demand for it. We are still at the point where the demand is higher than the supply. But in again, when it comes to educating yourself, you have Google. You have so many online courses that are even free. It's just a matter of putting in the time and the commitment to finish it off. It's, colleges were a big investment. I think it is going to get out of the whole cycle where you get into a student debt after your high school and then you start your job. But the internet is out there. There's a ton of things you can learn for free. If it's just a matter of putting your energy or your effort into it, and
literally just keeping up with it. Yeah.
Absolutely. We've actually gone past the time for the day.
3 minutes.
Yeah, 3 minutes past that time. But I actually need to make way for Nick coming in. And guys, it's been one of the best so far, man.
Yeah, this has been a great session.
There's definitely some highlights to take away from this. So producers, please take note. Make some adverts.
Absolutely.
Guys, 100%.
You will see me tomorrow.
What time, Josh? What time?
I'm presenting The Final Whistle, which is a show all about football. I'm going live from 11 a.m. all the way to 1. We're going to be talking all things football. So we're talking Euros, transfer news, any news within football itself. So if you're interested in that, definitely stop by, because it's going to be a fun discussion.
Looking forward to it. I hope I get the link.
You will.
Awesome.
Me too. I'd like to see that.
All right. Just before we head out, this is Kings, Josh, and Tim on the buzz. We are with you, from 12 to 1 weekdays, every day, talking about business, tech, entrepreneurship, keeping you updated with a lot of humor and, making sure you are tuned in. So make sure, if you want to join the show, these shows are live. We do that so we know that you can be a part of the show while we discuss it. And just make sure you can call us up on 07852-473-473. You can download our app. Our app is free. It's on the Play Store. It's on Google Play as well. And just make sure you tune in. We'll be back with you. Josh's show will be from 11 to 1. That's the final whistle tomorrow on Relax Radio. That's RELAKS. Good afternoon. Good evening, everyone.
Good afternoon.
See you later. Cheers.